All right, Shalom. I'm going to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shem, Kakodash, double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom to the Akim out there pushing the word in sincerity and in truth. Yeah, I want to do a lesson on these Negro spirituals. It's spiritual because we almost in February, and of course, a lot of these different Jakes. When you think about Black History Month, that was a month that Esau just propped up just to give Jake a little pat on the back. When really, as Israelites, we have all years designated for our culture and our heritage, but of course we were brought in captivity and caused to serve. We lost our heritage, we lost our nationality, we lost who we were. And Esau repainted the picture of who we are, calling us blacks, Latins, Mexicans, so on and so forth, Native Americans. But driving the point home with this lesson, it's a few things that indicate we the Israelites when you pick up, things from history. And one major thing that showed our spiritualism is Negro spirituals. A lot of people don't listen to Negro spirituals now. It's a more ancient musical art, you know, that was reserved for the time, such as the blues. You don't have a lot of these young jakes that are talking about listening to the blues. You know, why? Because that was designated for its times. All right, when Jake was in harsh captivity, those Negro spirituals got Jake far. Singing about the Lord, singing about deliverance, singing about redemption. You know, and they would have certain excerpts out of scripture. Some of them didn't know the whole entirety of the Bible or have access to the full entirety, but they would, a lot of them would learn that plantation Christianity, and I believe a lot of this is where gospel came from, which gospel is a heavily watered down Christianized form of Negro spirituals. If you listen in the gospel, you and Jake listen to gospel, you going off. But because them gospels, that's white Jesus music, man. Plain and simple. At least these, it gave shed a little bit of light of echoing the sentiment that we are the Israelites. And one popular song that I'm familiar with that I still even listen to this day, it's by Louis Armstrong. It's called "Go Down Moses," where he's basically talking about how Moses led the Israelites out of captivity. And he basically through so many words are saying we're those people. All right. It says when Israel came to Israel land, then they got the guy in the background saying, "Let my people go," you know. And why did he feel so compelled, inspired to sing such a song? Because it related so heavily to him and the people conditions that he was in. Now of course, Louis Armstrong wasn't in hardcore bondage. It was a little bit of a transition. Matter of fact, let me type in Louis Armstrong. Because when I was a child, I had to do studies on Louis Armstrong. He was one of the people that I was chosen to follow. They would back in school. They would give you certain blacks to follow and do your homework on it. I actually had Louis Armstrong. But yeah, he lived in 1900s, which it was still tough in the early 1900s. It was, of course, out after the transition of the Emancipation Proclamation. But yeah, Louis Armstrong, he had a lot of good songs. When the Saints go marching, and he I'm not saying that he's the creator of this song, if I'm not mistaken, but he did his if he's not the creator, he did his rendition of it. But these black vocalists, like I said, he's an American trumpeter, the composers and things of that nature. A lot of them, they were speaking. They wasn't speaking about gangster. It wasn't a gangster rap era, man. They wasn't rapping about the chains and you know the type of cars that they was driving. They just rapped on their conditions, and a lot of it was very spiritual. So, this list shows that we the Israelites. When you go into the most beautiful Negro spirituals, I'm gonna read a little bit on this. The best Negro spiritual songs are those that move the spirit. Many of these spiritual songs were created in the 19th century when African American slave communities sang them to tell their own stories. Right. So, 19th century hit, it gave Jake a little bit more leisure to go out and, assemble, sing, make music. You know, Many of the top Negro spiritual songs on the list have recurring themes of yearning for freedom, and that's what the Israelites was doing. All right, it tells you that also in Psalms, how can we sing the Lord's name? Sing the Lord's song in a strange land. It speaks about the rivers of Babylon, which that was a song by the rivers of Babylon, and It said where we sat down and we remember Zion, and a lot of those so-called Jamaicans, the Benjamites, they have a lot of spiritual songs going back to the '60s and '70s. I listen to a lot of reggae, old reggae. Bob Marley and the ones that were back then. You could actually type in like '70s and '60s reggae and go through the list. Really good music, dealing with the yearning for freedom. It says the hope to be lifted out of suffering, and that's all the Israelites wanted back then. They wanted to be lifted out of suffering, and the belief that a higher power will help a person persevere in tough times. Some of the most famous Negro spiritual songs purported sent more than an uplifting spiritual musical message. According to legend, the messages in some lyrics were quite literal, offering slaves specific instructions on how to travel north to freedom, which was true. One such song is Following the Drinking Gourd. Fugitive slaves would follow the drinking gourd, another name for the Big Dipper. Right, so Jake had an idea of the heavens, the North Star and things of that nature, northward. Some historians also believe there are underground railroad clothes to follow in the Negro spiritual song, Wade in the Water and Swing Low Sweet Chariot, among others. These are just some of the truly good Negro spiritual songs out there. Be sure to vote up to your choices, right? And you got the number one song. I'm pretty sure a lot of Jakes are familiar with this. Majority of Jakes should be wade in the water. But it's, sounding like like I'm in captivity singing these songs and stuff. But just wanted to highlight it through the spirit, because these are very spiritual songs. These are forefathers, foremothers that was in captivity, and all they mainly sung was getting the f out of their conditions, man. And like I said, they believed in a higher power, such as Swing Low Sweet Chariot, which this is a very, very powerful song. The chariot talks about so-called UFOs, and they wanted those chariots to descend upon them to get deliverance. Swing Low Sweet Chariot, come forth to carry me home. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they speak about the River Jordan. You know, you got Down by the Riverside. I don't know what this is. You got to Edomite look as it looks singing this. I don't know what's up with that, but it has a good. That's the song I was talking about right here. Go Down Moses by Louis Armstrong. Really good Negro spiritual. Um, Deep River, the Gospel Train, Follow the Drinking Gourd. I was just not listening to this just a little bit earlier. Never said a mumbling word, talking about Yahweh Shai when he went through the captivity, and basically he never said a mumbling word. And a lot of Jake can't stomach this type of music now because they're so inundated with drugs and gangster culture. If it ain't got gunshots and it ain't about sliding on somebody's block, you know, or having sexual intercourse, popping somebody's rib, Jake doesn't really want to hear this type of music. They feel like this is a thing of the past. The scriptures speak about research. Talk about looking up the past of your forefathers. Job, I think 8:8. You know, so you're supposed to look at this stuff, listen to it, get an impact, get a feeling from it. I ain't saying you gotta listen to each and every Negro spiritual song like this is your new genre, but it's good to just get a little bit of insight so that you can expound, such as I'm doing through the spirit, on lessons like this to give Jake a clean understanding of what we was doing in these times. It says we're climbing Jacob's ladder. Which what did these people know about Jacob's ladder, and they know about the Lord and these prophecies and all these things, and why are they making music about them? Because like I said, they had a spiritual connection, a very, very spiritual connection. And all of these are just, yeah, this is just but yeah, and it's spiritual because it links up with the scriptures. This is Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. Right. So it resonates with us perfectly, that we the children of the Most High. If not, why are these people? I never heard about the Chinese going to captivity, singing these type of. You don't have Chinese spirituals. White. It was a time where the whites had to be going in heavily in captivity during the time of the Moors, things of that nature. You have the Slavics, where you get the term Slavs and the different serfs and things of that nature. But they didn't have no type of Edomite, white spirituals. All right. I don't hear about Indian spirituals, Chinese spirituals. Even in today, there's so many people. If you look up how many people are in slavery, and today, working these different jobs for little to no work. It don't say that the people over there singing spirituals, they just getting their asses kicked like the Japanese and the Chinese. They just getting their asses kicked and turn on anime when they get a little bit of time, man. You know, and wait for those conventions to open up. Or go home. They get a little bit of bread and water, and they just take it in and work another 16 hours to the next day, man. 16, 18 hours. I'm not being funny or facetious or anything like that. I'm being serious. Those other nations don't have a strong connection with the Most High power. All right. It ain't like the Bible cells are going up and then they going getting in the scriptures and saying I'm an Israelite, or whatever they believe. You know, I believe that this is the book, and if they are, then what? The Spirit bear witness pursuing the Romans 8:16 that they're Israelites, man. Only an Israelite will get deeply connected to this book, and really feel that they're the people. All right. You have these different individuals that's observers of the Bible that study it avidly, avid readers and things, but they never intertwine themselves with the text. They just look at this as a book of observation. But we believe through the Spirit that we are those people, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So we go into this, Job 8:8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself for the search of their fathers. Right. So these are our fathers, our mothers, and the conditions that they were in. And the only this was one of the major outlets that they had was, or way to let out was singing these different songs, And Lord, I might go through a couple of them, 12 gates to the city, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Like I said, a lot of it does kind of sound, some songs when it gets too gospel-y. I don't like gospel music, I'm going to be honest. Gospel is nothing I ever was a fan of, and I'll never be a fan of it. I'm not trying to get into no damn gospel music. It's that Christian, that white Jesus crap, This is like the hardest, and the blues also. The blues were a genre of music felt, and created through blacks in suffering situations. All right. It says, "For we are of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow." All right. So yeah, you got to look into that. Look at what our forefathers went through, the routes that they took, the people. Like slavery. Slavery is a very it's a bad time that our people went through, but it should trigger you to look into these things and see what our people. That's where you have the term to be intrigued with. It's to trigger you to look into it, to see what our people went through. Even look at the Underground Railroad's important individuals. As well as Native American history. See, Jake don't look into shit no more, man. They just look at fat asses on Instagram. And it's like whatever, for majority of these Jakes. It's for the ones that really study, that get deep into, the spirit to search. All right, and I wanted to go into this because this is very reminiscent of Negro spirituals. It says what? An experience of the captivity. This was a so-called Negro spiritual, an ancient world captivity song that the Israelites song. So Psalms 137:1, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away, who was there that carried us away, the Babylonians, helped by the hand of Esau, required of us a song. That was that song that they required of us, a spiritual. And they that wasted us required of us mirth. They took us down and they required us to be happy, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. They called them the songs of Zion back then. They call them Negro spirituals today. All right. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Right, because when we sang the Lord's song, it was songs of rejoicing. It's hard to sing a song of rejoicing when you got the enemy's foot on your neck and he's requiring you to sing a song of mirth when you are already thrown in captivity. It doesn't resonate, and that's why we sung songs where we were such in a depressed state of upliftment. If I forgot thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth, if I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. Race is going to erase or eradicate, destroy. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. All right. So our people were even, singing and putting messages in their songs or in these psalms and things of that nature of getting payback upon the white man and the other nations. You know, and that's the spirit that you should be in. But I just wanted to do a little, you know, get my 2 cents on these different Negro spirituals. Like I said, for brothers that never heard any of them, you got a lot of youthful men that's in the different churches. Check these things out. You know what I'm saying? It's good to get a little bit of insight of the past. You know what I'm saying? It always adds to your spiritual repertoire, so to speak. So I want to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shem, Kakodash, double honor to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, Akim.